Nice. Now, we are going to do a quick thing where we're just going to go over the pattern work that we did on Tuesday, which was using pictures. And then we're going to do a recap over everything that we've done in pattern work so far, because it's our last lesson on patterns today. And then we're going to move on to algebra next week. Okay, so quick recap of our lesson on Tuesday. We have got some pictures over here, and we've got a picture with some dots, and then some more dots, and then some more dots, and some more dots. I want to know how many dots are in each of my pictures. Can you please write me a number sequence? So like a number sequence means like 1, 4, 7, whatever your number sequence is. I would like to have a number sequence of how many dots are in each of these pictures. So for example, picture 1 has got, let me get a better sized pen here. Picture 1 has got 3 dots. Okay, so that will be the first number of my sequence. I would like to know what the rest of my numbers are. And when you have your sequence, please, can you put them in the chat for me so I can make sure you're doing okay. So count the dots and write down a sequence. Let's see how this one goes. Nice, guys. Keep those answers coming in. Hi, Renati. Welcome to our lesson. We hope you have a good time. We're going to be doing a review of patterns today. Okay, let's have a look and see if these sequences are right. So the first one was 3, then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, which means we've got 11. And now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so our sequence is 3, 7, 11, 15. 3, 7, 11, 15. How many dots would there be in picture 5 and in picture 6? Don't overthink it.
19,
Yes, Tiana, 100%. Picture 5, I'm going to write it as picture 5 is going to have 19 dots, and picture 6 is going to have 23 dots. How did we know that picture 5 was going to have 19 and picture 6 was going to have 23? How did we know that?
Because we add 4.
I think we've got 2 people trying to answer here. Yes, try again, my sweetheart.
You add 4.
Good, I'm adding 4. Okay, so every time I'm going from one to the other, I am adding 4. And so what does that for? What is that for? Why is that 4 important? Good, the difference is 4. And the difference plays a big part in when we try and make our formula. Okay, so let's try and break this down a little bit. What we've got over here, I'm just going to draw you a little table just to try and help things. Okay, so we've got our picture number and then we have got our dots. So this is our picture and that is our dots. Picture 1, we had 3 dots. Picture 2, we had 7 dots. Picture 3, we had 11 dots. Picture 4, we had 15 dots. And we know that our difference is 4. I would now like to know what the formula for this is going to be when we're using D is equal to, which means we have to use D and we have to use P. Now, my help to you, for those of you who are still struggling a little bit, is that we always think about that as N, and now in this case, it is P, and this is Tn, which we are going to think of as D for dots. Okay, I would like my formula as in D is equal to something P something. You guys are on fire today. Nice work. Okay, who feels confident to, all of the answers that are coming through are right. It's definitely D is equal to 4p minus 1. Who is feeling confident in their answer and would like to talk us through it? Just put the hands up emoji so that I can call on you. Tiana, can you talk us through how to do this?
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so the constant difference is 4.
Good,
So it's going to be D equals 4p.
good. Okay, so
And then
whatever
we're
that
going to say,
constant difference is going to be there. Yeah.
then we're going to say minus 1 because we want the first term, which is 3.
Good. Okay. So we're going to look at this number that we have over here, which is a 4. And we're going to think, well, we want that first term number, which is a 3. And to go from 4 to 3, we have to minus 1. So we land up with D is equal to 4p minus 1. Okay. Couple of things here that I saw in the chat that we need to just sort out. They're not major things. They're just a few small things. First one is because they have used a little d and a little p, we're not allowed to use a big P and a big D. We're not allowed to. Mathematicians are very specific about things. So if it's small, it has to be small. So in your formula, make sure that the D is a small d and the P is a small p. That's the first thing. Second thing is make sure you haven't snuck an N in there somewhere. It's a very common mistake because our brain always thinks the pattern is Tn would be 4n minus 1. And so we can see, oh, well, we have to start with D equals. So we know we have D equals, but then our brain jumps to being like, now it must be 4n minus 1. Super common mistake. We just need to be careful not to use it, and then we must be using P for picture. Okay. Those are the two important things that came up here. No, it's not going to be minus 1 in every sum, Shanika. It's going to be whatever I have. So for example, let's say, let's try some different things here. Let's say I had D is equal to 8p. Let's just say that, guys. I know that that's not what our formula is. If it was 8p, what would I be plussing or minusing after that 8p in this hypothetical world? Who can tell me?
Minus 5.
Minus 5. Good, because we're trying to get from 8 to 3. We're trying to get to that first term. Okay. If I had negative 2p. Oh, goodness. Sorry. If I had negative 2p, what would I have to plus or minus if that was where I was starting and my first term was 3? Careful. There we go. So, Stephen, you fell for my trap. We can't plus 1 because if we say negative 2 plus 1, we're going to get negative 1 because that's a negative. How am I going to go from negative 2 all the way to 3? How would I go from negative 2 to 3? Plus?
5.
Plus 5. Okay. So it definitely is not always going to be plus 1. It's yeah, but don't worry, Stephen. I set that trap for a reason. It's just going to be dependent on what our first term is and what our constant difference is. Okay. Cool. Cool. Next two, I would like you guys to do by yourselves. I don't want you to put the answers in the chat. So you can type the answers, just don't push send. I want everyone to give C and D a try. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to do this. And then once those 2 minutes are up, I'm going to say go and everyone can put their answers in the chat. Okay, so just do C and D. No, oh, it's okay. It's direct message. So don't send your answers in the chat. Do them by yourselves. And then when I say go, you can put them in the chat for me. Okay, just C and D. I just want you to focus on these two. Yes, sweetheart. How can I help?
Ma'am, at my school, we use a different method. So I'm not sure if the method I use is the same as the one that you use.
Okay, what method do you use, sweetheart?
We usually say Tn equals Dn plus C, and then we find what's the constant difference, which is 4n plus C, and then we want to find out what the C is. So we say say T in, and then we take you can choose any term from the sequence. So you put that in the place of the in.
Yes, so you're doing the same thing. It's just in a different way, but it's exactly the same. So if you feel confident doing it in that method, absolutely continue doing it in that method. The only thing I'm going to tell you to be careful about is when you get a special sort of situation like this where they've given you a picture and they've asked you to use specific variables, then we're not allowed to use tn and n. We have to use the variables they asked us to use.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, but if you feel comfortable with that method, absolutely keep it going.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. All right, guys, you got 30 more seconds to do C and D. 30 more seconds. I have a counter going. And go.
Ma'am,
Yes.
C is equal to 78.
Okay. And D? I don't agree with your 78, but we're going to talk about why now. We're going to do it together now.
C is 79.
C is 79. Great. Great, Lutando. And now we need to try and figure out the answer for D.
D 61.
Okay. Let's see if I agree. Okay, so how many dots that's saying that we don't, oh, sorry guys, I'm in highlighter mode. This is saying we don't know how many dots we have, but we know that our picture is 20. I always find, I call this my grocery list. When I read through questions and I get given information, I like to write a list of what I'm looking for and what I have. So this is telling me how many dots, which is mean we don't know how many dots there are. And picture 20, we know that its P is 20. So I find grocery lists are very helpful because they give us direction on where to go. Now from here, we just put it into our formula. So we don't know what D is, and we know that P is 20. So we're going to put 20 in there, and then we are minusing 1. And so we land up with 80 minus 1, which means that D is 79. So there will be 79 dots. So that is C. Okay. Then if we have a look at D, it's saying what picture number, which means we don't know our picture number, will have 243 dots. So now our dots is 243, and our picture is something we don't know. So we just put that into our formula. We say our dots are 243. We don't know what our picture is, and then we minus 1. Next step, we're going to take that 1 over to our other side. So we're going to say we have 243 plus 1 is equal to 4p. So 244 is equal to 4p. And I'm trying to get p alone, so I have to divide that by 4, and I have to divide that by 4, and we'll end up getting 61. And that is our final answer. I would like to know from everyone, so using emojis, either smiley faces or sad faces or thumbs up or thumbs down, I would like to know how this question went for you. So if this question went really well, give me a thumbs up.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Ma'am, can I disturb you for a moment?
Sure, do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to ask, where do you get the 4p? Where do you get it?
That was part of our formula up here.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so let me know through emojis how this question went. Thumbs up, thumbs down, sad faces, happy faces. Just tell me how this one went. these two, C and D. Okay. Crying, oh no. Okay, let's try some others. We're gonna do more picture puzzles just now, so don't panic. It's not going to be the last time you see them for the lesson. So the rest of this lesson, we're going to do sort of revision of a whole of patterns, so anything you could be asked in patterns. And the first thing we're going to look at is just some number patterns. So, sorry, Ms. Mark, I took these all from tests. So they are all things that you could be asked. Now, for this first one, I'm going to ask two things. So the first thing I want you to do, no, Shanika, it just takes time and practice, I promise. Time and practice. The first thing I want you to do for A is I want you to fill in these two blocks. And then I want you to give me the formula for A. So Tn is equal to something n something. Okay, so I'm going to have a block here, then I'm going to have something going over there. So I first want you to fill in what these two terms would be, and then I want you to give me the formula for the sequence. That's the first thing I'd like you to do. So just write. Cool. Just remember to always use the hands up emoji if you guys are wanting to speak so that we can call on you. Athelia, I think there's an N missing somewhere in there. As soon as you've got answers, you're welcome to put them into the chat for us and we can have a look and see what to do in this type of question. Take your time, don't rush, it's okay. Okay, so we seem to all be in consensus about what numbers are going to come next. To get from one number to another here, we are plussing 6 each time. So 16 plus 6 is going to give us 22, and 22 plus 6 is going to give us 28. So we've got our last two terms of the sequence. That's our first go. Okay, just be careful. Tumishang, there's good things happening there. There's just something written in the wrong place. But like there's good logic happening. There's good numbers that are popping up. Nice, guys. Okay, so the first thing we do, and this is especially for those of you who haven't been in these lessons with me, the first thing we do is we look at what our difference was, and we say that it's going to be that difference times n. That's always our first step. So we take what our difference is and we times it by n. Then we look at that 6 and we think, okay, we have 6 and our first term is -2. How do we go from 6 to -2? And the only way I can go from 6 to -2 is by subtracting 8. Okay, now if you were doing it the way that one of our questions was earlier, where you wanted to substitute, you absolutely can do that. This would be term 1. Oh, sorry, guys. Term 2, term 3, term 4, term 5. You can choose any pair. So let's say we chose this pair over here. Then we would substitute in 3 over there. So it would be 6 times 3, which is 18. And we need to get 10. So we would need to minus 8. Okay, so the minus 8 comes from, because we need to get from that first point, we need to get from 6, we need to get to -2. We always need to get to our first term, because basically what we're doing is we're substituting in 1 for n. And 1 times anything is itself. So 6 times 1 is 6. and I'm trying to get to -2. That's where that -8 came from. If we think about it like this, five, 6. Okay, I'm trying to get from this point over here, I'm trying to get to 6, from 6 to -2. So I have to subtract 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have to subtract 8 to get from 6 to -2. That's where that -8 came from. Does anyone have any questions about what's happening in A that they would like to ask? Okay, good. No problem. That's what I'm here for. Okay, let's have a look at B. Now, B, I don't want you to make the formula for, because B is not a linear equation. So it's not one that we have to do just yet in grade 9. For B, I would just like my next 2 numbers for B. Let's see how this one goes. I want you to tell me how you got from one term to another. How do you do B? That is the question. So have a look at how we would get from one number to another. I'm going to tell you that it's not a constant difference. And that's why I'm not asking for TN, because we don't know how to do this one just yet. But we can find out these 2 numbers.
Ma'am,
Yes, Unati.
ma'am, is it a constant ratio?
It is a constant ratio.
Okay.
Ah, there we go. I've got a beautiful answer that's come in the chat. We are dividing by -2. What a little brain buff. That is absolutely what we are doing. We are dividing by -2. -24 divided by -2 is going to give me 12. 12 divided by -2 is going to give me -6. -6 divided by -2 is going to give me 3. So what is going to be my next 2 terms? You could also multiply by -1/2, absolutely. So you could do it as a decimal, or you could literally just write it as a fraction. We would be saying we've got 3 that's being divided by -2. Sweetheart, please remember to use your hand up when you're wanting to talk. When we're wanting to divide 3 by -2, we can write it exactly like that as a fraction. We can say 3 over -2. You can leave it exactly like that, or you could put it into your calculator and just get a decimal answer as -1/2. Also totally fine. And then if we were dividing it again by -2, then what's going to happen? So think about what our next number is going to be and put it in the chat for me. Yusuf, yes, what do you think the next number is going to be?
Negative. Sorry, excuse me.
Okay.
-3/2.
But this one's -3/2.
Oh, you mean the next one? Oh, sorry.
The next one.
You're still there.
That's okay. Do you have the next one for me?
3/4.
Okay, so let's have a look at this quickly. If I had -3/2 and I was dividing that by 2/1, right? I would have -3/2. What do I do in a fraction when I have a divide? Yusuf, you're right, so don't question yourself. I'm just asking. What do we do in a fraction if we have divide? Does anyone remember? Yeah. Tumishan?
Open your calculator.
Open your calculator. We don't need our calculator. We've got our brains. We change it from a divide to a times, and then we can multiply. So we land up with -3/4. Oh, sorry. But this is being divided by -2. So it's going to be +3/4. And those are going to be our next numbers. Now, if you used your calculator and you got -1.5 and 0.75, that's also completely fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just showing you what it would look like as fractions. But for this one, we definitely wouldn't do a TN because we haven't learned how to do a TN for these just yet. Tumishang, do you have a question?
No, ma'am. I wanted to answer the question
Oh, okay.
for the previous. Yes, ma'am.
Sure. All right. Okay. Let's have a look at the next one. No, you see, so C looks hard, but it's not so bad. It's being sneaky.
Babe, can I answer
Yeah.
C?
Tiana, why are you being so sneaky without this hands up situation in talking?
Hey,
Such a
sure.
little sneaky sneak, Tiana.
I want to answer C. So
Okay,
C.
answer C for me. What's going to be my next one for C?
X to the power of 7 and 2. And then other is going to be 2. And then
Good.
next one is X to the power of 8. Other is going to be 1.
Yes. You see, it looked sneaky, but it wasn't sneaky at all. All that was happening was that I was going up by 1 exponent on my x's each time. And in my denominators, I was dividing by 2 each time. Jasmine, how can I help?
Sorry, I want to answer the question.
Okay, no problem. I'll make sure to look out for your hand for the next one, okay? All right, D and E. Let's first just look at D. D is another one that looks scary but isn't scary. When you're feeling confident, put that hand up so that I can call on you. Yusuf, yes. What would be my situation for D?
Oh, sorry, ma'am. My audio just disconnected. So I think it would be 10 x to the power of 5.
Okay, I like the x to the power of 5. But not the 10.
Is it 12?
It's not 12.
16?
16.
And then the next one, 24?
Nope.
I'm not too sure.
Okay, let's get someone to help. Unati, can you help us get this next one?
32.
32 what?
X6.
X to the power of 6. There we go. Okay. Ikona, I don't know what's happening, but we're getting lots of full stops happening in the chats. I think something might be leaning on a keyboard. So can you see what's happening there? Okay, so that was what we have. So we have 16, x to the 5, 32, x to the 6. Now again, for these two, we're not going to give them TNs because they're not following our normal formula that we're used to. So you wouldn't be asked to find the formula for these questions in grade 9. But for E, you can be asked to find the formula. So for E, I would like for you to give me the next 2 terms, and I would like you to give me the formula. So everyone give E a try for me. My Ricardo, how can I help? Okay, Simpiwe. So we've got -9, -15. Absolutely. Each time I am subtracting 6. Good. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, you're welcome to answer this one if you want to give me the formula. Okay, Tiana, I see that hand. Well done. We are learning. Okay, give me what my formula is going to be.
Formula is going to be -6n plus 15.
Okay, good. So let's talk about y. So it's definitely going to be my negative 6n. So this is always going to be your constant difference. Okay, that's always going to be your constant difference. And in this case, it's negative 6. Now we have to think, how do we get from negative 6 to 9? How do we get from negative 6 to 9? And in order to get from negative 6 to 9, I have to add 15. So this is quite a tricky one because we've got negatives involved. And so it can get a little bit nasty. But hopefully it's coming together for you guys. Okay, so just be careful with that 6. That 6n has to be a negative. I'm just seeing some things coming into the chat now. Because every time we're going from one to the other, we are subtracting, we're not adding. I'm seeing quite a few people are getting the plus 6 as the constant. I'm just trying to think of why. I think you were trying to get to 0, and you're trying to get to 9. Kumo, the way you've written that is also fine. Totally fine to write it in that direction. Not a problem. I think instead of F, I'm going to write another one where we are doing subtractions like this one. I think it'll be better. So I'm just going to write you another formula here. So your numbers are going to be, let's make it 10, 8, 6. I'll just carry this on for you, 4 and 2. Okay, so I've given you the sequence. All I'm wanting you to do with that sequence is I want you to tell me what my formula is going to be. Okay, now for this one, I'd like everyone to not give the answer in the chat. So I want everyone to give this one a try. So everyone try this by yourselves on a piece of paper, whatever you are working on at home. Give this one a try. As soon as I say go, then everyone can put their answers in the chat for me. Okay, so all I'm wanting to know for this one is what my formula would be. So Tn is equal to what? So Unati, I'm just going to give everyone a little bit of a chance to try, but I promise I'll call on you first, okay? Okay, Unati, talk us through what is our formula going to be in this situation?
Ma'am, so would it be Tn equals 2n plus 8?
Careful, careful. Is it going to be 2n?
Yes, ma'am.
How do I get from 10 to 8?
Minus 2. Oh.
Yeah. Avuyile, can you take us through this one?
Okay, ma'am.
Oh.
Ma'am, I think the formula would be negative 2n plus 12.
Negative 2n plus 12, which is 100% right. Well done. Okay, so we know we had to get the negative 2n. So those of you who've got the plus 8, it's a very normal mistake. You're just thinking about 2 plus 8 would give me 10, but be careful. We're not on 2. We're on negative 2. And to get from negative 2 to 10, I have to plus 12. Vulenda, those are good numbers. Just remember to put the n next to the negative 2. Kutlwano, that was really good. The 8, I hope that you see why it's not 8 now. Those of you who had the 8, just be careful there with that 2n. It's positive again, and you need to make sure it's negative because we're subtracting as we go down. Okay. Cool. Okay, guys, we're going to do a quick brain break. We're going to do one of our puzzles. It's not too tricky today. And then we are going to do one picture puzzle, and then it's going to be time for your quiz today. So we're just going to Ooh, we'll come back to that one. We're just going to do this quick puzzle today. And let's see how this one goes. I think people have fallen for a little trappy trap. So far, no one has got this one right just yet in the chats. Avile, have you an answer for me?
No, ma'am. Ma'am, I want to ask, what's that thing at the bottom under the 2 bananas and the cookie?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it's like a fruit basket. That's what I went with. I went with fruit basket.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Maybe it's a clock or flowers. I don't know.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Nokia, I'm not sure what your name is. I'm pretty sure it's not Nokia, but can you tell me what the answer is?
Ma'am, I think it's 16.
It is not 16.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
I think the answer is 25.
Nope.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
I think it's 17.
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
16.
ma'am, it's 14.
No.
11.
It's
14.
25.
Hold on. Miguel's got it. I think I heard someone yell it, but because you were all
Ma'am,
yelling
it's
at the same time, I
15.
don't know.
Ma'am,
it's
14.
Okay.
14.
14.
14. Calm ourselves.
14.
Okay, guys,
It's
let's calm
15.
ourselves. It's mute again. It doesn't help when we all yell at the same time because I have no idea who's yelling at me. The answer is definitely in the chat, which is easiest for me to see. The first person who looks like they got it right was, I'm trying to think, it was a bit earlier, I think. So the first person who got it right, I think it was Miguel, but I'll double check. But it was definitely 14. So let's go through why, because I think quite a few of you fell for the trap. So I think all of you were able to get to the 10, 10, and 10 for the 30. I hope everyone was able to get there. Okay, but now we have to be careful, okay? Because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 chocolate chips on that cookie. But there are not 10 chocolate chips on the cookie at the bottom. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Okay, so let's keep going. So if this was 10, then we have 10, and then this has to be 2 and 2, which means banana is 1. So that's 2, that's 1, that's 1. If this is 2, then these two over here need to be 6. So that's 3 and 3. So that's 3. So we've got 1 times 7, which is 7. 7 plus 1, which is 8. 8 plus 3, which is 11. I think someone got 11 earlier, though. I'm fairly certain was... I really want to say it was Miguel. That was the first number that I saw that was correct. But this one was... The sneaky thing was here was the chocolate chips. For anyone who fell for the chocolate chips. Oh, good. I'm glad Miguel took the... Okay, victory. Well done. Okay, let's do one picture puzzle and then we will move on to our quiz for the evening. Oh, did you also say it was 11? Okay, but were you one of the yelling people? Because I had no idea who was yelling at me, Jasmine. There were like 20 people yelling numbers. I had no idea what was going on. Okay, let's have a look at. Okay, so I'm going to help you with the first pattern. If we have a look here, we've got 1. So just how many lines here? 1, 2, 3, and then this whole line would be 4, and this whole line would be 5. So in my first pattern, I've got 5 lines. I know sometimes those long lines can be a little bit confusing as to how they would be. Okay, so I want you to think, if you were in our lesson on Tuesday, I want you to think of when we had the houses and we joined the houses together, what that did to the different lines. How many lines am I going to have in pattern 2? Okay, why is it going to be 9 and why is it not going to be 10? I like your 9.
I
Ma'am?
think it's
Yeah, go ahead, Nakia.
ma'am.
Yeah.
I think there's a line sharing from both boxes.
Exactly. There's a line that is sharing it, which is changing how many we are adding. So we've got our original 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's our original 5. And we're adding 1, 2, 3, 4. So we added an extra 4. So now we had 9. That means in pattern 3, we're going to add another 4. So now we're going to have 13. So pattern 4, if I'm adding another 4, now I'm going to have 17 lines. Okay, now I would like the general rule. So that means I want this written in TN and N. If my sequence that we've just created now is 5, 9, 13, 17, I would like you to give me a general rule for that sequence. So that's going to be TN is equal to something N something. Remember, your constant difference is the key.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
I think the answer is Tn is equal to 4 plus 1.
Careful. I like the 4. I like the plus 1. What's missing?
N.
N. You got saved there. The N is missing. Okay, whenever we have a formula, we're going to have Tn is equal to something N plus something. Sometimes it could be plus 0 or minus something, but that N has to be there. So that is what everyone's formula should look like. Okay. Now we have to be careful. What is the pattern number if the pattern had 397 lines? So this 397 lines, is that Tn or is that N? That is my question to you. The 397 lines, is that Tn or is that N?
Maybe it's TN.
It's Tn. Okay, it's our answer. It's our output. Okay, and if it's our output, then it's going to be our Tn. So we know that our Tn is 397 and we don't know what our N is. And so now we have to work backwards. So Shanika, we know it's our output because when they were asking for our sequence here, these are all of our numbers of lines. That is our output. So in pattern 1, our input is that it's pattern 1. Our output is that there are 5 lines. In pattern 2, our input is that it's pattern 2 and our output is that there are 9 lines. In pattern 3, our input is 3, our output is 13. So if we know that there are 397 lines, then that would be our output, and our output would be Tn. So we're going to write 397 is equal to 4n plus 1. We're going to bring that 1 over, so we get 396 is equal to 4n. And then we divide that by 4. Yes. But careful, it's not Tn that we're solving for here. We're solving for n, and in n we get 99. Timishang, how can I help? Okay. Guys, I would love to have done extra questions with you. I'm sad that I got kicked out of Zoom and we lost like 3 minutes there. I'm glad that Eric was able to keep you company, but you have to do your quiz because it's Thursday, so it's quiz night. So I gotta leave you so that you have time to do this quiz and I can get to my grade 10s. If you have last questions, you're welcome to ask Eric. He will happily help you and he will make sure you're all able to get on the quiz okay. And I will see you next week, Tuesday, when we start our new course, which is going to be algebra. I hope, especially for those of you who have been in this course since day one, you are feeling confident and great about patterns. And if you have joined along the way, I hope you feel better about patterns than you did when you first joined. And I will see you all on Tuesday. Hope you have a lovely, lovely evening, everyone. Bye, guys.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.